All right, so Daz, we got big news out of Dallas today. Dak Prescott, nasty injury in the third quarter. Looked just like similar to that Gardner Wood one. I know you had a pretty nasty ankle injury yourself too, and I feel for that. This dude, we saw the news with the contract negotiations, and they didn't get it done. He was on the franchise tag this season, and is looking doubtful for that contract. And he finished the game with 166 yards. They still hold on to win this game. Andy Dalton gave them the game-winning drive, got them in field goal position. And if what do you make of this injury by Dak Prescott?
But I just feel bad for that. Like when the play happened, I watched the play and I see Dak take off. And every time I see quarterbacks take off, I say the same thing in my head: get down, get down, get down. Like you don't need to be right. I don't care those extra few yards. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because an injury like this could happen at any time. And I saw Dak running. And I know Dak is one of the biggest guys on the field. He's about what 6'3", 6'3", 250 pounds. And I to be honest, on the play, I saw him run it. And in my head, I was like, Doc, get down, Doc, get down, Doc, get down. Because I felt like something bad was about to happen. And the minute he went down, and nobody could have seen the injury as of yet. The minute he went down, I say something ain't right. Because the way he landed, I say something ain't right. Either his knee is blowing up or something is wrong with his leg. And as soon as the guy came off, I saw his ankle twist, and I'm like, damn, like it was a compound fracture. I don't know if much people know what a compound fracture is. That's when both of the bones in your leg, both of the bones break. And he had a compound fracture close to his ankle. And that's always a scary thing. If it was more high in the leg, it'd have been better because it'd have been easier to heal. But the fact that it was by his ankle, that means he had torn ligaments. He could possibly have blood vessel tear. He could probably have nerve damage. And his ankle was dislocated. So all that is going to be a problem. The ankle is going to have to stabilize, and his bone is going to have to heal. That's not looking good. Like you see, they went into surgery tonight, and the fact that they decided to do surgery tonight, that's not a good sign, because usually they wait about 24 hours to get surgery done, because usually the swelling is so bad you can't cut into it as soon as the injury happens. But they decided to do the surgery tonight. That tells me that they seeing a serious problem which they have to fix. It could probably be nerve damage you got to get a control of. It could probably be like an infection. Like I don't know if the bone I don't know if the bone pairs the skin, but if so, it could probably be infection, and that could always be serious. We saw Alex Smith; he had an infection, and he almost lost his life. So that's always a serious issue. But it just isn't looking good for Doc. And to come in contract, yeah, and to come in to see him, yeah, his brother died. His brother committed suicide a few months ago. Coming to contract, yeah, coming in, yeah, he talked about mental health. He talked about the depression he was going through after this year, after his brother's death. All these things leading up. Everybody was rooting for Dak this year. Everybody's rooting for him to get that contract. Everybody's rooting for the Cowboys. And this is one of the most beloved players in the National Football League. This guy played almost 5 seasons with the Cowboys, never missed a game, only missed one single practice in 4 years. This guy is completely durable. And to see him go down like that during the circumstances, in the season, the Cowboys, they could very well win the division. In the season when he is coming up in the contract, yeah, could possibly make 200 million. In the same year where he's been facing a lot of mental health problems. In the same year, his brother passed away, and it's just a lot of things that I just feels like this guy can't get a break. And I just feel for that. Like, I know we want to talk about the Cowboys, but I don't think it's time to talk about the Cowboys right now. This is all that. My mind's just on Dak. The Cowboys are going to be good. They have Andy Dalton. He's going to win about 8 games for them at minimum. They're going to be good. But the fact that this injury happened to Dak at this particular time, it's just devastating.
Matt, you go.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, especially because like 2 years ago he played really well, and last year he was kind of in and out, some bad games, and he had the contract stuff. He was trying to go up, and they weren't meeting with him for the contract. So he came back this year. He was playing pretty well, turning it around, and I felt like he was going to get some sort of negotiation. They was going to reach something. He goes down with the injury, so it's really hard, especially because I feel like he was going to get the money. And it's just hard. We don't know what his career is going to look like, especially in the future with the injury, because it's a serious injury. So just hope for the best with him. A lot of these quarterbacks, they like to run a little bit too much when they just go down. But, live, you learn. Hopefully you'll come back even better. Hopefully you can come back healthy and work out. That's what I hope.
Yeah, just a couple of things. This it was a nasty injury, and it came at a horrible time for just Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. And I feel like Andy Dalton could keep them afloat. They could win the division with them. The division is terrible, but Dak this is why the agents fight so hard for these guys to get their money. It's just stuff like this. You out there putting you all on the field for a franchise, and you don't have no insurance, and this is the reason why these guys want to get those guaranteed dollars and those long contracts, because you never know what could happen, and we see it all the time. We never think you know that an injury will happen like that gruesome. We've probably only seen what, maybe 3 or 4 injuries to that extent. What comes to mind is the Paul George one, Gordon Hayward, then that Nurkic had a pretty bad one too. He snapped his leg. And
College.
this is just horrible for Dak Prescott. I feel like the Cowboys should at least take care of him for next season. Like he probably might come back. If he comes back, it'll be late next season or midway next season. But if this is not looking good, and I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see going forward. With all, we have a lot of quarterbacks around now. You got Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, obviously, and Patrick Mahomes, Steve Watt. All these guys, they've been running the ball. We after this, a lot of these GMs might and coaches might think twice about running those running plays for their quarterbacks going forward. Yep.
I think they gotta look at like.
That's the thing. Dak Prescott. Dak is leading the league in yards right now. Dak through the first 4 games, Dak throwing for 1,500 yards. That's the most ever in the NFL through any 4-game stretch. This guy was on pace for 6,000 yards. Like, that is unprecedented. That's unprecedented territory. I mean, Dak he was really on a roll. Just the Cowboys were winning games because defense. I wouldn't say so, because a lot of those games, they were in down the stretch. The defense just was giving up so many points. They just had to build up. But a lot of those games came down to really the last possession. Those are one-score games at the end of the day. Although they're losing them, those are one-score games. But I mean, like that. It's just hard because we hear all the stories about the negotiation going on this entire summer throughout the COVID. We had to start about the negotiations and all that, and they couldn't get a deal done. And we're saying Doc is going to be on a 1-year deal, and he's going to gamble. And everybody was saying, well, you know what's going to happen if you gamble. You know what's going to happen. You go there, you don't pitch yourself with insurance. A lot of people think it's cliche because guys see it all the time, but it's really the reality. Like, yes, we've only seen an injury of this kind a few times in basketball, like you say, Paul George, Nurkic, and Gordon Hayward. But in football, these kind of injuries happen all the time. It just really doesn't get enough. It doesn't get a lot of light that how it does in NBA because it's so frequent. Like we just seen Alex Smith, he's been off for 2 years from a gruesome injury. But it's just terrible for Doc. I mean, like I was rooting for the guy. Like most, I have a lot of Cowboy friends. My dad's a Cowboy fan. And to see him go down and that, and to see this guy crying, like this guy was literally having real tears, and that's not tears from the injury, that is tears from everything that he's been through in his life, really. Yeah. And the one moment, the 1 year he really had his time to shine, he went down in such a way, and you could see all the emotion just coming out at that exact moment. That's tears from the passing of his mother, the passing of his brother, his mental health. All that is tears from him. He's not getting this contract. Like, yes, he feels pain from the injury, but most of those tears are from just flashbacks, because he know what could have been. And I don't know. We'll just have to pray for him. You even saw Jerry Jones crying, like. Jerry Jones was in the book crying. A lot of people think that Jerry maybe don't like Doc, but they really have a good relationship. It's just when you're negotiating contracts, you have to keep it business. But Jerry loved these guys, and I saw Doc loves Jerry. And you saw Jerry crying. You saw some players like Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, all those guys. They had their head down, and they know they lost their leader, and Jerry knows he lost his quarterback. But
I have a question. What do you think is gonna happen with that contract negotiation? What do you think the Cowboys could do? You think they're gonna take care of him, or
I think Doc he's definitely gonna be out for the year. Definitely gonna be out for the year. He's not gonna be back. I think what the Cowboys will do, is signing him to another 1-year deal. And then if he's healthy to play next season, and then they'll negotiate because they can franchise tag him again. They won't do that. They won't franchise tag him again because that's almost $50 million. But they'll probably give him something in the area of, maybe around $10 million to, or like Doc. Let's be realistic now. You've been injured. You got to prove yourself. I understand he was our quarterback, but we got to have insurance for ourselves as well. We can't just give you money coming off injury. So they're going to give him something around $10 million. Let him work back, rehab in their facility and all that. Probably let him play about the last 8 games. And if he's looking good, he's going to get that extension. But it won't be what he wanted this year, though. Definitely won't. The injury was too bad. Even if he comes back looking the same, he still won't get the money he expected because the fact that you have injury history, they use that against you. They use everything against you. So maybe he may get something in the area of 100 mil if he comes back looking, but it definitely won't be in the area of 150 mil that he was really looking for.
Yep. All right.